Going on? It's Jimmy Friday, and I'm back. Y'all doing all right? This week I'm gonna be talking about agape love. Love is not self-seeking. Self-seeking is another word of saying a person is selfish. When you look up the meaning of self-seeking, it's just a person worried about their own concerns over others. Which is what a selfish person is. We gotta break those habits. Being selfish. If we write down a lot of things that we're concerned about, a lot of things that show that we have a lot of selfishness in us. Love is selfless. Always keep the mindset of how can I be of good use today. And opportunities will start presenting themselves to you so that you can be more beneficial to the world. I seen a sticker on a friend's car from work, and it said, "Be a good human." And it made me think about it. Be a good human. What does that mean to me? You know what I'm saying? And I was thinking man, getting out of myself, being kind to others, treating them with respect, helping them, just being some light to the world. So I had to look at it made me think about my behavior patterns, and I asked myself, do the people around me, see that I'm a good human, or, think that I'm a good human? I heard somebody say, if you really want to know who a person is, find the closest people that's in their lives and ask them. Don't ask that person, are they a good human? Because everybody will say, yeah, I am. But if you ask the people around them, those people will let you know, he treats me good. He goes out his way, or, she goes out her way to do things. I've never seen them being selfish about anything. If you really want to know if a person is self-seeking, then you ask the people around them, and they'll reveal who that person is. I was reading in 2 Corinthians chapter 3 about how we are letters, being read by everybody everywhere. Let me read a little bit of this verse. It's in 2 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 2. You yourselves are letters written on hearts, known and read by everybody. You show that you're a letter from Christ, written not with ink, but with the Spirit of the living God, not on tablets of stone, but on tablets of human hearts. So I think about what kind of letter do I want to be today? You got to think about that. What type of letter do you want to be? I want to be a letter of genuineness and selflessness. I want to be a person that can share what I have, even if it's just a little bit of wisdom, because they say what's having knowledge if you don't share it with nobody? You know what I'm saying? So, what we have, do we give it up for others? Do we think, well, I'm just going to hold on to things, you can't do that, let's be selfless out here. Even Christ said, in John 15, greater love has no one than this, than to lay down his life for a friend. How much do you lay down for other people? How much of yourself do you put to the side so that somebody else can gain? How many times do you pass up on things, being selfless, so the next person can have and gain something in life? You know what I'm saying? So, how much of yourself do you lay down? Think about that. How much of yourself do you lay down for others? It made me just think about, I got homeboys that's locked up in prison. You feel me? And, they can't do things out here. Yeah, they mistakes then, got them where they at. But, who are we to judge? You know what I'm saying? You never been in another person's shoes, and you never had to walk the walk they have. You know what I mean? So, out here in the free world, we get caught up in so much stuff out here because there's so many distractions, that we forget about our people, that's less fortunate, that can't do what we can do. You feel what I'm saying? We got bills. Yeah, we got to take care of that and ourselves, kids and home first, before we can really do for others, but the other stuff that we have extra of, we always want to get things because we want this, we want that, and we need to learn like the difference between our wants and our needs. And so, I think about, the homies that's locked up, you know what I'm saying? Like, I can take $30 and go buy me a t-shirt or something like that, or I can look at it in another way, like, man, let me take this $30 and split it up to 15, and I'm gonna send 15 to one homie and 15 to the other. You know what I'm saying? And that way I can help them make it through the day. It may not be a lot of money, you know what I'm saying, but it's something. When you don't have nothing, you know what I mean, and you're behind them walls, them bars in jail, you feel me? What else, can they use that would help them ease the pain? You feel what I'm saying? So, it's time for, how much do you lay down yourself for others? So, that's what I'm looking at. Love is not self-seeking. You feel what I'm saying? So think about it. How much of yourself do you lay down for others? How much selfishness do you hold within? You feel what I'm saying? So, let's reverse things out here. Let's keep it moving, keep it pushing. Let's be selfless out here. Spread the love, you know what I mean? Because it's a lot of love to give, So y'all be cool, and I'll catch you next week. Keep your head up, stay prayed up, stay blessed. You feel what I'm saying? Because you're covered by the wings of the Creator, So enjoy that grace and mercy, and y'all be cool.